Hello, everybody, and welcome back.
Welcome to that Pretentious book club.
Yeah, to that Pretentious book club. This is actually going to be fun. We're recording remotely because hooray for my internet working for the first time. And this actually, because we're recording on separate audio files for the first time, this means if I interrupt you again, I can just cut out where I interrupted you and make it sound like I never interrupted you. Isn't that amazing?
Wow, the power of technology. That's not what I was thinking at all, but I guess that's true. I can, and vice versa, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that over there, the one who doesn't interrupt nearly as much as I do, that is Kendall Shaw, aka Dr. Spoons Palermo.
Hi, howdy. And over there, the beautiful, talented, lovely co-host that I'm looking at on Zoom is Ash O'Rourke, but you can call her Wheezy.
It ain't easy being Wheezy, especially when it's allergy season and I've got allergies and I'm so sunburned. Spoons is also sunburned. So if we put this up on YouTube ever, that is why.
We are so sunburned.
We are significantly more sunburned than we even appeared in the video because Kendall played around with her lighting and I powdered my forehead a bunch.
Yeah, it is I literally look like a lobster. But we went to the strawberry festival, which is how we got sunburned.
Yeah.
And so we could look like strawberries as well.
It's true.
That's cuter.
I can show off my sunburn around my collarbone area if anyone ever sees the video, but there's a stark line and I was wearing a crisscrossed so yeah, yours is good too. I wearing a crisscross sports bra that showed in the front of my dress. So the thing is I got crisscross sunburn. So now just on my cleavage I have a sunburn tattoo, a zebra stripe tattoo. So it's attractive.
I think that's cool, honestly. I wish that I had something like that.
I think it's great. Here's a I guess a red pen point, which we haven't done in a while, that Kendall brought up that we didn't do last time. We've been recently getting some reviews saying these girls are kind of funny sometimes, but they talk way too much about not book stuff. I guess we've never told you guys this, I guess because most of our listeners seem to enjoy the nonsensical chatter. But if you are not one of those people, don't even worry. We put skip notes in the bottom of all of the descriptions.
Yeah, so you can totally skip.
They're
no
in all the
harm,
episodes.
no foul. Yeah.
No harm, no foul. We won't be offended. They've been there since the beginning of the podcast, but I guess people don't always check the descriptions, which I don't always either. And I guess we should have been telling you guys that those exist this whole time. But
yeah, here is your
me either. But if you guys are stop talking nonsense, we want to hear about the book, you can go to the skip notes. And fair warning, sometimes that means you're going to be skipping 20 minutes in. Sometimes that means you're going to be skipping 45 minutes in. It just depends how much we have to say.
Yeah.
It's unrelated to book stuff. I mean, we do tend to throw a little bit of book stuff in there into the chatter, but if you want the actual, we are focused on the book for the most part, that's when you're going to want to use the skipper notes.
Just skip on over. No biggie. So
skippers, just go ahead right now. Now you can go look.
Yeah,
just
do it now.
Just skip ahead because we're going to talk nonsense. I'm just sure of it.
Yeah.
Or this will be the one day where we have nothing to say.
I know. And then we're like, okay, skip 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. Skip 30 seconds in. That would have been the Illuminate episode. And I was like, so what if we just talk about the book?
Yeah, we were
away?
Okay, so book.
Yeah. Actually trying to put the skipper notes for that one was kind of difficult because we talked about the book before we actually started the book portion of the episode. Mm-hmm. So that one is a little tricky. But this week, you guys will recall that we were supposed to be joined by our holiday fox, aka Lexi. Unfortunately, she's not able to join us today. There's some hard stuff going on, and we love her very much. And we were not going to make her show up to do this podcast, this comedy podcast, when her life is stressful. So we love her very much. All of our love is with her. We know you guys love her too. And we will have her for holiday episodes again, but that is why
she will be back
today.
Yes,
she will be back again. You can't keep the fox down.
No, never.
They're wily like that.
Isn't she just? What are you drinking?
Not alcohol, unfortunately, but just a Waterloo.
It's 246. Oh, nice.
But it's a weekend. Water bottle. Does it matter on the weekend?
No.
I'm just gonna put this cold thing right between my boobs where my sunburn is. Very cold.
My forehead, like the last couple hours, has been killing me.
I know. I woke up, my forehead hurt.
I don't like. Yeah.
What? Yeah, my boobs hurt.
Oh yeah. I just have not been enjoying looking at myself in the mirror because I feel like every time I look and see how crazy sunburned I am, it hurts more. If I ignore it, then I can just pretend like it's not that bad. But when I look, I'm like,
you're like, oh no.
So I've like not been looking at mirrors. Yeah.
I keep looking and being like, UV rays. Oh, like I'm like concerned about like skin damage suddenly, even though I'm like, no, I don't need to wear sunscreen. But I told my mom today that I'll be wearing hats now to cover my face some. And now that I've gotten I've now burned twice already in spring. So I feel like I've gotten my initial burns out of the way. So now it's going to be sunscreen time. I feel like you can get a couple burns before sunscreen each year just to get your base tan.
Yeah,
but now it's going to be sunscreen or else I'm going to get skin cancer.
Yeah, this is my one big, well, I don't know, I'll probably get burned more in the summer, but like this is my initial burn for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get burned at least one more time because I want to go play in the water, and then I'm not good about reapplying sunscreen. I think it's a huge hassle. You know,
it is, and you never realize that you're burned until after it's too late.
Yeah, you're like, oh no. That was like yesterday. I kept looking at my arms going, it's weird, I'm not burning, I guess because I already got my sunburn. And then all of a sudden I looked down like half an hour later and I was like, oh my God, I'm so burned.
Yep, same. Yep.
It was so fast. Man. I was gonna ask how your week's been, but I just saw you. But did we really talk about our weeks? What else has happened in your life?
It's been fine. Did some fun. Well, no, I don't know. Strawberry Festival was fun. I also have been writing some, which has been fun.
Oh, jealous.
I know, I've been really enjoying it. And I really enjoyed reading this book this week. And I had some good stuff happen at work. So that was good.
That's good.
I have been a little stressed because finals are like now. So that's been a lot. And
these are your last finals?
No, I have next semester too. Well, I have the summer and this fall.
That's right.
My little kitty girls have been fighting a lot this week, which has been not fun. But she's sitting here. She let me pet her. And then my big news is that the Billy the Kid show I've been waiting for forever came out today. And I didn't realize, but the first 3 episodes dropped today. So I just finished. I'm like in the middle of the 2nd episode right now. And it is good, Ash. I'm like freaking out. I was like, wait, what? Ash Upson in episode 2? We're talking about the Santa Fe ring? We start in on this blah, blah, blah murder. Anyway,
ooh, I really want to see this show now.
I think you'd like it. It's pretty good.
Are they doing your boyfriend justice?
I think they are. I mean, if anything, they're making him too nice, which is, it's fine, you know.
It's different. That's a very different approach, I feel like.
He is very, very sweet. And I love that for his image. Do I believe it's entirely true? No, but I do think it is somewhat true. And so I'm glad that we're getting it a little bit. But yeah, so far it's been great. I'm really impressed and very excited. I mean, of course, they have been getting some things wrong. Like they've been calling him Billy the whole time. And the first 2 episodes are very heavily about like young Billy. And they've been calling him Billy. And I'm like, this is inaccurate. They'd be calling him Henry, but it's fine. It's whatever. Like you
need to send them emails.
Too much to explain, I'm sure. Yeah, I know. But hello,
their fact checker.
As a super fan, I really would like to inform.
And as Billy's girlfriend.
Oh God, I'm literally crazy. Like I need to stop, but it's fine. This is my one thing.
That's amazing. That's me and my mermaid thing.
Yeah.
It's probably actually more embarrassing. Mermaid thing.
No, I don't know. Mermaids are cool.
Billy the Kid is cool. He's an outlaw. I'm like, that's mertastic. That's what the mer community does, stuff like that.
Okay, but that's not you though.
No, but it is my entire community.
You're like, I don't represent the community.
I don't represent the community. Oh, but look, I'm wearing one of our original merch shirts. You can always trust it.org.
Yeah, there it is. I love that one.
One of our original pieces.
I have something for you. It's somewhere. Here it is. My grandma made you this bag.
Made who this bag?
Made you. My grandma made it for you. It's got
she's beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh my
I
God.
haven't given it to you yet because I forgot yesterday.
Oh my God, I'm
But
so excited.
it's your bag, and it has. I think that maybe the intention was podcasting bag because it's like, cute. It can carry stuff. A little tote. I should
Oh
have
my
told you about
God.
this before you bought a bag yesterday.
Oh my
And then,
God.
but it's not as big as your new bag.
That's okay. I
And
got
then
a
it
really big
has
one.
little pockets
Little
too.
pockets. Oh my God.
So
She's so sweet. She made me another bag another time that also has a different mermaid on it.
yeah,
I just love this so much.
she's a friend of the pod. She listens. So thank you, Grandma.
Thank you. I'm so
And
grateful. I
she
love
made me
all
one
my
too, and it's very
bags.
cute.
Aw, cute. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so exciting. Oh, I'm so excited about my new bag. This is great. And I got a new bag with flowers on it at the Strawberry Festival because we go to festivals and stuff a lot and like fairs and stuff. And Javi always buys things or I buy things. But Javi hates to carry things. And he's like, we'll just get it on the way back. And I'm like, we won't. Like either it'll be gone or I'll be like, I'll have talked myself out of spending the money, or we'll just forget entirely. Which, to be fair, Javier remembers more than I do. Like when he says he'll go back for something, he actually typically does. If I say it, I don't. So I'm like, I would rather just buy it and carry it. And he hates carrying things, but I never had, like, now I've got a big bag I can put stuff in.
Yeah, I hate carrying stuff too. So I was like, as soon as I got that strawberry wine, I was like, oh, I need a bag for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, we both got bags. That was a good idea, Ash, I think.
Yeah.
Now you have a bag for things.
Hooray, exactly. My friend was there with her stroller. It's like, you can just put stuff in my stroller. And I was like, it's not that that's not a good idea, but it's that I keep having this problem and I keep finding excuses not to do it.
Yes.
And I really need a bag. And they actually were decent price too for like, they're pretty big bags. So
yeah,
nice.
look, I have my bag right here.
Oh yeah, there's hers. Mine is the same size, but it's got flowers.
Yeah, it's ginormous.
Yeah.
Boom, boom.
Pretty.
Oh,
everyone who's listening is like, are they really talking about bags now?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Listen, you never know how much you need a good bag till you don't have one.
I know. Ooh, right?
There's the strawberry wine.
Yes, I got it. Well, I got strawberry grape, but now I'm like, why didn't I just get full on strawberry? I think in the moment though, I like the other one better, but yeah, it's fine. I think it still counts.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway, yeah, I guess that's my news. What about you? Anything that's new for you?
This week feels very long and also very short, so I have no idea what happened in this week. It's Sunday, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of work to do with my normal job this week, and then also I've been trying to rake rocks out of my front yard. So I'm very sore.
The rocks.
Yeah, for some reason there are so many rocks in our front yard and we want to till it up and plant a clover lawn. I can't remember if I already told this to everybody, but first we have to get all the rocks out of the way. And so I went out there on my lunch break multiple times this week, and I had used a pitchfork to rake up the rocks because a real rake is not sturdy enough to do that job. And so I'm like pitchforking rocks into a pile, and then I'm loading up buckets and I'm carrying buckets full of rocks to these piles. And I'm like, good God. So, and that was how I got my initial burn. And then at the Strawberry Fest, I burned over top of that one, which is actually apparently really bad for you. So whoops.
Oh,
but
that's why you're worried about the UV then.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I've been radiated. Is that how? I don't even know anything.
I know it's like bad to have sunburn and stuff, and I don't ever do it on purpose, but part of me is also like, I mean, listen, there's so many things that can kill you. Like I'm
like the sun slowly killing me is not one of my main concerns.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, who hasn't gotten sunburn, No,
it's definitely not one of my main concerns. Today, my mom came over to see the new baby chicks. We have baby chicks, by the way, and they're precious. I should post a picture of them for everybody. And I still haven't posted a picture of Brownie.
Oh yeah,
I'll try and post Brownie. Those.
Oh, I need to post Taffy too. I haven't posted Taffy.
Oh, all the pod pets, all the little pod paws. No one's seen them yet.
We do have a lot of pod pets.
So many pod pets. But anyways, so I just saying that like I'm not that concerned about the sun. Because there's other things to worry about, like for the fact that Mom came over today and she was like, oh yeah, the last time I was here, I saw some black widows over there. And I was like, no. And we didn't tell me.
No, those little bastards.
Seriously. The other day I was like, hey, Javi, where's the nearest emergency room? And he was like, why? And I was like, it seems like it's just good to know.
It is. Yeah, very much.
Yeah. Ugh. I just want to
It
go
takes
swimming
so long
somewhere.
to get out of your neighborhood though. It takes like
Oh, I
literally
know.
10 minutes.
I know. It's because the neighborhood is it's all like winding back roads. And then
Mhm.
it's actually pretty fast wherever you're trying to get to comparatively. But the back roads, they're 10, it should take 5 minutes. But because they're so windy and you have to slow down around all the curves, yeah, it's 10 minutes about.
Did I tell you about the cow?
It was there a cow in the road?
Oh my gosh, when I was leaving your house last time and it was like nighttime,
Uh-huh.
as I was driving down the road, I'm actually like on the phone with Logan. She's like on the speakerphone, and I'm
Uh-huh.
driving, and somebody stops in front of me and they're talking to this big bus that's also stopped in the road. And they're like just stopped in the road talking. And I was like, okay, what's going on? And part of me was like, is this a drug deal? And then I was like, I have no idea. So
No.
I just went around them. And as I'm going around, I turn the corner and then I'm like, what is that? And I boom, slam on my brakes because there is a cow in the
Yeah.
middle of the road at night and it is a black cow. And I was like, this is the worst case scenario. And this poor cow is just wandering around in the middle of the windy back road in the middle of the night. And so then I had to flash my lights at everybody who was coming because I was like, there is a cow. And I saw more people stopped. So I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to wrangle the cow. It seems like at least somebody knows what to do. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I'm in a Kia Soul and it's not my house and I can't do anything about the cow. So I was like,
so funny.
at least I can warn people. But I was so scared for that cow. I thought about him all the way home. I was like, please God, let that cow not
could
get
probably
hit by
take
a car.
your car. That cow would probably do more damage to your car.
Oh, but imagine it's little boo boo.
Yeah. A bunch of the neighbors' cattle got out last week, so they've been kind of wandering the back road.
Oh no.
You're like the third person to be like, so there was suddenly a cow in the road. And we're like, yeah.
Oh my God. Well, also on those back roads, I have almost run into a cat and a dog. Like people just let their dogs.
People let their
out.
dogs roam. It is the weirdest thing. All of these totally domesticized dogs are just roaming like wildly.
And
I'm like,
get it.
I don't, that always bugs me because I'm like, your dog is going to get hit by a car.
Yeah, I saw a dead cat also on your road and I was like, this is so sad. Somebody's cat got
sad.
hit.
There's a bunch of random cats out here too. And the cats, we don't know if they're stray or not, but there's a bunch of cats just wandering too. The cows is new. The cows is because
it's like a zoo out here, man.
I know. Someone's whole herd of cattle got out and they were all in the road when Javi found them last week.
Oh,
he was like, what the hell? Javi is not a country boy either. So he was just like, what the hell is happening?
He's like, I'm from Corpus Christi.
Maybe it was seagulls.
Yeah. There once when Emily and I were in Ireland, there was a whole herd of cows in the middle of the like back road and we had to wait for them to cross and it took forever and I was like, oh man, I didn't know if this is actually going to happen. Like it always happens in movies and stuff, but nope, sure enough.
Yeah. In Ireland, that happened to us with sheep a bunch because we drove everywhere. We took like the Wild Atlantic Way, I think it's called, like all around Ireland, and sometimes that road is so thin. Oh my God, you have to back up to let other cars get by, and the sheep, when they get in the way, you're like, dudes, and they look at you with no intelligence whatsoever.
I know. They're like, I'm a sheep, bro. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah, they're just sheeping around. I freaking love sheep. I don't think they're the brightest, but I love them. They're so cute. We're gonna get one. If they fall over on their back, they'll die because they can't get up. Did you know that?
That is so stupid.
I know. I'm like, can we ever leave? What if the sheep falls over?
Why can they not get up?
I have no idea.
Oh my God.
It's not like a turtle. Like with a turtle, I get the dynamics of it. I get why it's difficult.
Oh no.
And even turtles can sometimes turn back over.
Yeah, if they get enough like momentum, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like sheep don't have an excuse.
They're just not trying hard enough.
Yeah.
They're like, this is fine.
Yeah. Like, actually, this is really nice. And then they die.
Oh my God.
It's horrible. It's horrible. And I can just so easily see the goats like running, bouncing off a fence, then bouncing off a sheep and knocking the sheep onto its back, because that's what goats do. They'll knock each other over, but they just get back up.
Maybe the goat will help eventually if the sheep is just laying there for long enough.
Maybe just knock it back the other direction.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Like, hey, get up. I gotta knock you over again.
Hey, I need my springboard. Yeah. That's
Goats
funny.
are crazy.
Goats are insane. I think they're smart, but in like a scary way,
Yeah,
like in
they're
a
so
dangerous way.
like, I'm not surprised at all that they became kind of like an evil symbol. Like, goats are
No,
chaotic.
you look
They're
at
so
sheep and it's
scary.
like static in their eyes. You look at a goat and it's like, you know too much.
Gosh, I love them so much. Oh,
I'm
love
excited.
goats.
We got to prioritize getting a couple goats and a sheep out here because with that grass is getting high. So
Yeah, let them mow it down.
yeah, we need some little pasture pets. Anyways, this is probably not interesting to any of you guys, but if you guys want to talk about farm animals, we obviously would love to talk
we're
about
into
farm
it,
animals with you.
apparently.
Yeah. Anyways,
I'm
I guess
actually, oh
no,
yeah,
go for it.
I was just gonna say I'm actually really excited for this book. I would be down to start talking about it.
That's exactly what I was gonna suggest. Oh my God, we're so on
We
the
are
same
one brain.
page. We are but one brain and four eyes
Yeah,
and many teeth. Okay.
this is getting scary.
You think so? Okay.
A little bit.
Like a little bit, yeah, please stop. Okay, so this episode we're doing A Tree Grows in Brooklyn in honor of Arbor Day by Betty Smith. So this book was Lexi's recommendation, I think. Super, super good. So thank you, Lexi. I have the Harper Perennial Modern Classics edition. If you guys are looking on YouTube, you can see it. She's pretty.
Oh, beautiful.
And she's got like the raw edged pages, which is really nice.
I
Why have I
love
been
that.
calling all nouns she? Like what am I, like an old sailor? Like what is
I love doing that. I call the moon she. I call the Grand Canyon she. I'll do it for my car. I'll do it for anything.
Anything
But I guess those are
large
more
and
normal.
impressive, it makes sense.
Maybe,
I'm
yeah,
like,
if it's like a book, it's not as
this
normal.
book
But
is a she. I think I called my dress a she the other day. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm like,
I like
this candle is a she. My notebook is a she. She getting full. Why am I doing this? No idea. Okay, anyways, so my point of giving you guys the edition of my book is that there's already an author bio in the back, so I'm just going to read you guys some tidbits from this, which is really nice. So
Yay!
Credit to the Harper Perennial Modern Classics edition of A Tree Grows in Brooklyn by Betty Smith. So Betty Smith was born Elizabeth Wenner, I think that might be how you pronounce her name, on December 15th, 1896. So that's 5 years earlier than Francie Nolan, the main character in this book, was born, but it's on the same date. So that's kind of cute.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, you kind of get the feel that she really like lived out her, like a lot, like kind of relived her childhood through Francie.
Yeah. Wait, what was the date again?
December 15th, 1896.
Oh, so she's a Sag.
Is she? See, I didn't do that other part of my job. I totally forgot we do zodiac signs.
She is. I'm pretty dang sure because I think that's right before. Yep, she's a Sagittarius.
She's a Sag. Hell yeah. See, now I can like go back and cut out my incompetence if I want to. Will I? I don't know. I'm not really ashamed of it.
Leave it in. Leave it in.
Okay, so she was the daughter of German immigrants. She grew up very poor, which is not surprising because her rendition of living as a very poor child of immigrants in Brooklyn in the early 1900s seems so detailed. You're like, there's no way that this wasn't firsthand experience.
Yes.
Yeah. So she grew up in the Williamsburg section of Brooklyn, and that's kind of the neighborhood that she spends her time recreating through this very long book, but very good, but so long. So she also married someone else from Brooklyn, who I kind of think that this is who she based Ben, I think his name is.
Ben.
Yeah, I think she kind of, because this guy was also a law student at the University of Michigan.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, exactly. She moved with him to Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is also mentioned in the book. She had two daughters, Nancy and Mary, and she didn't get to finish her higher education until the girls entered grade school. So her education was kind of put on hold for them, but only until they were in school. So good for her for going back to school, especially in this time period where that was not, the most important thing for ladies.
Seriously.
Yeah. So she also, like Francie, did not finish high school, but she was allowed to take classes at the university. So straight out of Francie's life. She concentrated her studies in journalism, drama, writing, and literature. So aside from the journalism, also exactly what Francie studied. And then She won the Avery Hopkins Award for work in drama and took a 3-year course in playwriting from the Yale Drama School.
Dang, girl.
Yeah, good for her. She wrote some for some newspapers. Let's see. She got divorced in 1938 from who I think of as Ben. His name is George H.E. Smith. I think of him as Ben from the book. But they got divorced in 1938. And in 1943, she married a writer, journalist, and associate editor named Joe Jones while he was serving as a private in the wartime army. So I consider him Lee. And a year later, or sorry, not a year later, the same year, this book, A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, was published.
Oh.
So I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
there are some.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, girl.
Right. So this book was very prestigious and best-selling in its time, which is exciting. Actually, this book, so they made like a armed services edition, and it was made in the size to like fit in soldiers' rucksacks. And so she would get letters from troops who were reading it like in the trenches.
Oh my God.
I know. Isn't that cool? There's like a picture in the back of this of the armed services edition. It's very cool.
I love little World War II boys reading this sweet Brooklyn coming of age story.
I know, it's very sweet. She wrote for the New York Times Magazine. She did a lot of commentary for them. She did one that was specifically about Brooklyn and basically why Brooklyn gets made fun of sometimes, but like where its like true value lies. And of course, it's a lot of the same kind of theme as in this book, because she clearly had a lot of feelings about Brooklyn. So this is definitely the book she's the most well-known for, but she did write 3 or 4 other novels, including Tomorrow Will Be Better, Maggie Now, and Joy in the Morning. So 3. She also had a long career as a dramatist, and she used to write one-act and even full-length plays, for which she received the Rockefeller Fellowship and the Dramatists Guild Fellowship before she passed away in 1972.
Good for her. A very full life.
Yeah, and she's got like, look how pretty her picture in the back of the book.
Oh, dang,
she
girl.
is so classy.
She is.
Yeah,
love that lipstick.
I know, I love the lipstick. So anyways, that is a little bit of info about Betty Smith.
Yay, that was really good.
Thank you.
That.
Hooray.
How exciting.
Yep.
Okay, well, I will tell us about the book then. Okay. So I think everybody should read this book. So if you're going to read it and you don't want spoilers, come back and listen to this after you finish reading it.
Yeah.
So, okay, Our Tree Grows in Brooklyn. Our main character is Francie Nolan. She is the eldest child of Katie and Johnny Nolan, who live in Brooklyn. They live in Williamsburg, like Ash said. And she has a younger brother named Neely.
Cornelius.
Which is short for Cornelius,
which is
really cute.
Yeah,
I know. I love Neely. And so, yeah, basically a lot of this book is about kind of like everyday life for the Nolans, but then like with some little almost vignettes in there about like highlights of what's going on. So it's like kind of hard to do a complete plot summary for it because a lot of it is very
like day by day of her life from age like 9 to like 18 or something. It's crazy.
It's pretty extensive, and there's just a lot that happens in it, but then also there'll be stretches where it's like not a lot is happening, but yeah, I don't know. But I really liked it. Like immediately when I started reading it, I knew I was going to like it because I was really drawn in by the descriptions and stuff. Yeah. I just love that kind of like, I think because you can tell that it's all written from firsthand experience because it's so detailed. I was really enjoying like learning about what life would have been like for somebody who was living in Brooklyn in, early 1900s.
Yeah.
And it's really fun.
No money at all.
Yes, they're very poor. But the thing that I like about the Nolans is like they're really poor, but also they almost seem like they have more than a lot of families in similar situations because they are very close. They're a very close family. And you genuinely I think like all of them, even though they all have their own vices, issues, and problems. Yeah. So I think one of the main things is that Johnny, the dad, is he's an alcoholic. So that kind of ruins a lot of stuff.
It does. I will give him this: is he's not a mean drunk.
No,
That's
the thing
good. So
about
it's
him
not
is
that, but
I
yeah,
think he's actually a really nice guy.
he
Like,
really is.
he's a good dad. He is really sweet. He
Mhm.
is very creative and kind of fun. He sings all the time. And
Yeah.
everyone seems to really like him, but he just cannot stop drinking. And it
Mhm.
kind of like it's to, eventually his downfall. And they really Betty even says at the very beginning of the book, he doesn't live past 35. So you're
Yeah.
like reading this thinking, oh, great. Well, he's
He's
29 now.
gonna,
So,
yeah. He's got like 6 years
uh,
left. It's sad because him and all of his siblings, so like you also like she goes all the way back and you get to learn about like the mom and the dad's like kind of their
yeah.
how they met and came together. And like you hear a little bit of their history. And so Katie
Mhm.
was the child of Austrian immigrants. And
Yes.
and Johnny was the child of Irish immigrants.
Uh-huh. But they're
Yeah.
both born in Brooklyn. So,
Mhm.
and Francie feels like that makes it special because they're both Americans. So
Yeah.
she's an American.
Yeah, because like most of the other
um,
kids in their neighborhood, like their parents are
they're like
still like
first
first
generation.
generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just funny that Francie's like at the school, she was like, no, I'm an American.
Yeah.
They're like, but
It's
where are
so
your
cute.
family from? She's like, I'm from America.
Yeah.
um,
They're like, no, your parents, what country? And she's like, they're born in
America.
Brooklyn,
Yeah. Everyone's like,
America. It's true. They're
ooh.
like, ooh, a bona fide second generation American in our
Whoa,
classroom.
crazy.
Ooh.
But yeah, so I was I really enjoyed that too, that there was kind of a long section sort of in the beginning middle where Betty was going back and kind of doing whole chapters about like her Francie's parents and then like the grandparents and the sisters and all that. So it was
Mhm.
like you get kind of a full family history,
Yeah.
which I think is kind of necessary to like understanding Francie and also like the situation, and
Yeah.
gives you more like emotional depth about everybody. But yeah, so basically, um, yeah, so we have like the family, and then sorry, I'm trying to think of
No, you're
where I want to
good.
go next. Uh I really should have done more preparation. I like just finished it this morning, so I was like, I'm good. But now I'm like, wait, what comes next?
So
Our
proud of my
girl.
setup.
Oh,
I was just taking a picture. This is our
oh.
cool new setup.
Um. So yes, our girl Francie and our boy Neely, they kind of grew up pretty close as well, and because they're like only 1 year apart.
Mhm.
And Francie's older, as we said, and so they spend a lot of their time sort of when they're younger, like collecting things to sell to like weird people in Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
buying candy from like the little pennies that they get from doing that.
Yeah.
And
They're cute. They really make
they're
Katie
really
too.
cute.
They really make the most of what they have, which is basically nothing. But all the way from like Katie is very intentional about what she chooses, how she chooses to use the money, so that she always wants them to feel like they're not strapped. Like she
Mm-hmm.
lets not Katie, she lets Francie. They always have black coffee around, basically. Like
Yes.
that's their like family like thing, is like they drink black coffee. And of course the kids don't really like it, but she'll let Francie pour her leftover coffee down the sink if she doesn't want it. And of course Katie's sisters, who are older and know they have no money, are like, that's wasteful, why are you letting her do that? And she's like, if she feels like we have enough money basically for her to get to pour that down the sink, if that makes her feel like luxurious, like we have money to waste, then let her do it. Like it's such a little
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. She's like, listen, everybody gets their coffee. It's up to Francie how she wants to use her coffee.
Yeah,
It's fine if she
exactly.
wants to pour it down the sink.
Exactly. So like you can just see like that Katie's like the way she handles like everything, like money, buying treats for the family very, very
Mm-hmm.
occasionally. Like she makes intentional choices to that like can help her feel as positive about the situation as possible. And she's still
Right.
stressed out of her mind, and I would be too if I were her. But like the kids have clearly gotten that too, because they like scrap for those pennies and they save a bunch of them, but they also like will go like buy like a penny candy. Like they're not going and spending all of their saved money on stuff. They're still
Right.
trying to
Right.
like save, but they'll go like treat themselves to like a cold pickle or like a
Yes.
little piece of candy, and only like with their little pennies and stuff. And it's so sweet. I think they had like such a good, I don't know, like honestly, like I would say like such like a healthy mindset about money. I mean, it sucks that they had no money and they had to work so hard because that was not fair. But I think they had a really good mindset. Like I was impressed. I was like, I would just be in despair, but y'all are all finding ways to still feel like you're treating yourselves.
Yes, I loved that. They're so, I really just like the family.
Yeah, I do
and
too.
also they have, notably, they have other things that Katie like is very intentional about are these are like advice that she got from her mom, is to like, basically her mother was like, you have to make sure your children are educated, but she didn't like super have the words to say that. So basically she was like, you guys need to read every day.
Yeah.
And so every day Neely and Francie read one page of the Bible and one page of Shakespeare.
Yep.
And so like they don't even always know what's going on, especially when they're younger,
Yeah.
but they do it every day. So eventually they're pretty well versed. And also another thing Katie does is they have a jar that they like put savings into, and they just don't look at it ever. And that is like their savings for eventually buying like land.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so they have those things as well. And yeah, they're just like some cute little misadventures. Like one of my favorite parts was when Johnny decided he wanted to take Neely and Francie and some random neighbor girl fishing, even though he had never been fishing.
He's like, got this idea. Sing songs about going fishing, so I must know.
And
like, no, don't do it.
Yeah. And so he takes them fishing and it's a complete disaster, partially because he is drunk again on the trip, but also just like they have no knowledge of how to do it. No. And so it goes so wrong, and he like falls in the water, then he gets mad because he's embarrassed, and then they're all on the little boat. The little girl that they took with them has no idea what's going on because she's like 3 years old. Yeah, he buys them like treats and stuff, and they're like, okay, this is fine, but they don't catch any fish. Nope. So he buys a fish instead to take home, with like the unsaid understanding to Katie and Neely, to Francie and Neely, that like they won't tell their mom that he bought it. And then they all get so sick because they ate like treats and then went out on the boat. Oh, and God. So on the way back, they have this stinking fish on the like little trolley. And all 3 kids are just so nauseous and the little sunburned. Sunburned. Yes. And the little girl fell in the water too. Yeah. So she's just like dripping water everywhere. And so they all just throw up on this trolley. And Johnny's just sitting there like, how did this go so wrong?
Johnny does that a lot. He's like, I've got a really great idea. And Katie's like, are you what? And he's like, I'm going to do it. And you're like, well, he's so excited. I don't want to ruin it for him.
I know. He gets really excited. And I think
he's so not, he is the complete inverse in practicality of Katie. Katie is completely practical in every way. And Johnny, it does not click with him and to be practical or understand practicality at all. He's so whimsical and frivolous and a dreamer.
He's very whimsical. Yes, exactly. His job, he's like a waiter, and he also sings a lot, like at events and stuff. And so he takes a lot of pride on like his appearance. Yeah. And so he always looks so good, like very dapper, and he'll take time out to like go get shaved, and then like to like always be wearing his nice tuxedo, and he has his little union pin and stuff, and his mustache always looks good. And so he's like very put together. Yes. And I feel like, yeah, he's very much like, I think he always has these aspirations for things, but he doesn't really have the like ability to actually do them.
Yeah, he doesn't have the know-how, and he's not motivated enough to get the know-how because everything he does is on a whim. So
yeah, exactly. And whereas I love the way Francie puts it, she says that Katie, the mom, she says she never fumbles. She is constantly like on it. She knows what's up. She can do anything, and she's very capable, but she's still, like we said, she'll splurge for fun things. Like she's very cool, but she's much more practically minded.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Another thing that I think comes up a lot that is sort of, they talk about it at the beginning, is there is kind of this weird thing where I think because Katie is so in love with Johnny, and she also is like very much like understands, I think, that she's the one basically providing for everybody.
Yes.
She like knows she has to take care of him. She's also she loves Neely so much because he looks just like Johnny. And also like Francie, when she came around, she was like really difficult as a baby, and it was like really hard for her and stuff. And when like Neely came around, things were getting better, and Katie kind of loves Neely more than she loves Francie.
She definitely does. She over and over again is like, gee, I hope Francie never finds out that I love Neely more than her.
Which is crazy. Because it's like she loves Francie enough for her to not, she does love Francie, but it's like a special thing with Neely, and she can't. It comes up a couple times in the book.
Well, she describes it when Francie's a little older. Francie basically calls her out about it once, just like one time. And Katie tries to kind of explain it like Neely needs like the external like love and the affirmation, the support to get by. He's more like Johnny in that way. Yeah. And Francie is made of the same kind of metal that Katie is, where she's strong enough to get by without it. Does that mean a child should have to feel that one of their parents doesn't love them all that much? No. But I do understand Katie's reasoning for feeling like it's okay.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Francie is more like Katie in that way. Like she always can land on her feet usually, and she'll figure things out. Whereas like, I think we also figure out that Neely isn't as much like Johnny as you might think, just because he looks like him. But I think Katie is so afraid of that she coddles him.
She definitely coddles him. Yeah.
But I do love Neely. It's not his fault. And Francie and Katie have their own things about their relationship. Like, you know, they're so similar that they do understand each other, but at the same time, there was also a special bond sort of between Johnny and Francie that is a little bit different. So, I don't know, maybe it's an opposites attract sort of thing. Like they ended up.
I think Francie, when she's an older teenager, says that it's like, she finally sees why Katie is so like adores Neely, and it's because Neely's just so different than her, and that Katie doesn't really has never really understood herself, and Francie also doesn't really understand herself. And so these two people who don't understand themselves are so alike that they don't understand each other, because they do understand each other. And I'm not saying it very well, but the way Francie said it, I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And it's almost like because Neely is so different, Katie could understand him, but because Francie is just like herself, she couldn't understand Francie.
Yes, that is what she says. Yeah. So we also, so eventually Katie, I keep saying Katie when I mean to say Francie and Neely are going to go to school, and Francie doesn't like the school that they go to. It sounds like it sucks. Sounds like everybody's terrible.
It's horrible.
And Francie's also not that good at making friends. Like she doesn't really ever have any friends.
She says, I hate women. I don't want to be any friends with women.
Yes, she doesn't.
Kind of funny.
Yeah, she's not into it. And part of that, because that horrible sad scene, there's kind of a lot of like, there's like interspersed really fun, happy things with like really sad,
really sad
throughout this book, which is cool because it's like, that's what life is like, I guess. But one time Francie sees this one girl who had a baby out of wedlock, and all these mean old women are so mean to her on the street. And Francie is like super upset about it because she didn't smile at the girl when she smiled at her earlier, because her mother had been like, don't mess with her because she's bad news, that kind of thing. And then Francie feels so bad about it, and she realizes that she's like, well, if this is what women are like, I don't want to be friends with women. And I'm like, oh, it's not what all women are like, Francie. But it's very sad. And
then Katie also says something about like she hates women, because she's like, Francie, that's bad to say. You should definitely you have to be friends with women. And then Francie's like, well, you're not friends with any women. And then Katie goes, because I hate women. And you're like, oh my God.
I know. See, they're so similar.
They are. It's hilarious.
So Francie and Francie wants to change schools, and so she and Johnny are walking around in this other neighborhood one time, and he helps her like kind of basically forge her way into a new school because they just pretend like they've moved to, or that Francie has moved to a different address. Yeah. And it's really sweet. So Francie starts going to her new school and she likes it so much better. And she really enjoys like seeing plays and like writing.
Plays.
And so she kind of gets it in her head like she wants to be a playwright. And which I think is so cute. And I love that for her. And so so then she gets like stuff put in the paper or in the school, like anyway. She gets
some
her
kind of
compositions in like a school paper or something.
And
that's when that
published.
thing happens. And and so then she's kind of like found like a little bit of a niche for herself. And then what other things are happening? They have two aunts. Mostly we hear about Sissy.
I love Sissy.
I love her too. She's
crazy.
She is crazy. She is Katie's sister and she is wild. She basically has like 5 husbands who she's never divorced. So she'll just like have a husband. She always calls her new beau John. She calls them John every single time.
Very strange.
And she gets with her new boy and then she gets pregnant and her babies always die when they're born, which is so sad. But it's happened to her 10 times.
Babies. Yeah, it's insane.
It's horrible. And so she'll just kind of like move on from man to man. And
she finally found one she likes. His real name is Steve, I think.
Steve. Yes, I like Steve. So Steve's kind of sticking around.
Steve loves her. He's like so in love with her.
Yes. But our girl Sissy's a wild one.
She's so crazy.
So he's never quite sure if she's gonna leave him or not.
No, she tricks him into he never really buys into it, but she basically starts telling everyone that she's pregnant. And everyone's like, Sissy, you don't look pregnant at all. Are you sure? And she's like, no, I'm pregnant. Up until like, when she would be due, she still looks completely flat. Like there's no baby in there. And then she basically shows up with a baby one day and tells Steve, it's your baby. And I gave birth while you were at work. And it's crazy. And then she later admits to like a couple people, this is what she did, was she found an Italian family in another neighborhood where the daughter had gotten pregnant out of wedlock. And basically the dad was trying to starve the daughter and the baby inside of her to death.
It was so messed up.
It's horrible. And so basically Sissy heard about it. She went over there and she's like, hey, I'll take the baby. And so they were like, oh my God, in answer to our prayers. And so this newborn baby she took, and then of course the family like moved back to Italy later, I think, but basically it kind of saved the daughter. And Sissy's got this baby. And the baby actually kind of looks a little bit like Steve, even though Steve is like, there's just no way. And she does eventually. He's willing to accept it. Yeah. And then she tells him the truth. And he's like, well, that's fine with me. I just didn't want you to have a baby with someone else.
Yeah. But like, then we find out that weird thing that maybe it is Steve's baby after all, because he was the one who told Sissy about her in the first place. And then they're like, okay, that's weird. Why would he know about it? Remember Katie and Sissy were talking about it that one time? What do you think? Do you think it really was?
I don't think so. Wasn't he already with Sissy?
Yeah, but I feel like why would we include it if it was not in there?
I think he heard about it from someone at work, didn't they say? Because there was something, because they talked a little bit about the guy who got the girl pregnant, and they like told a little bit of details about him and like where he went off to.
I know, but I was like, okay, now the seed has been planted.
I don't think so. Because then there's like the whole I thought the whole conversation about it being a coincidence that the baby kind of looked like him was kind of just like a commentary on like, miracles and stuff happens when it needs to happen and stuff like that.
I guess
maybe not. I don't know. It's not confirmed either way.
Could be.
It's really just how you read it.
That's fine. We can. I'll accept it.
But
then once it was in there, I was like, that's weird.
I'm gonna choose to read it as that it was not Steve's biological child, because I like that better, and that's what I feel like it says. But you can interpret it whatever you want.
That's interesting. I totally thought they were saying like, no, definitely this is the truth, but we can pretend like it's not like that.
No, I don't think so. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I'm gonna choose to believe it anyways.
Well, we can say that. Yeah, Steve is cool. Whenever Sissy, then he finds out Sissy has not been divorcing her husbands, and she actually has like 3 husbands. And so when he found out about that, he was like, okay, I just think that you should really go divorce them now, and I'm going to go get ice cream for everybody because there are guests here. And everyone was like, okay. And she's like, isn't he the greatest?
He really is the greatest. Steve is such a good guy.
She wouldn't divorce her other husbands. And now she's just with Steve, and she realized then that she was madly in love with him, which is so cute.
It is cute.
We also have, I'm trying to think of other things that happen. Basically, it gets very sad because Johnny dies, like we knew he would, because Betty kept telling us that, but he kind of is going on like a little bit of a downward spiral, and we get this through a lot of like diary entries from Francie.
Yeah.
And this is like a little bit before this happens, but I really like the way Betty will do this. She'll just write differently to like convey passages of time, which I really enjoy. But so we get a lot of diary entries from Francie where it's like Papa's sick again.
So you find out that her mom has gone back in her diary and crossed out the word drunk and made her write sick instead of drunk every time.
Yes.
So then I was like, oh my God. So then it makes you kind of go, so all the diary entries I just read where she said, because the whole time she's been Papa's sick. And so then you go back and you're like, oh no, my God, that means he's been drunk all those times.
Yeah.
I really thought he was sick until then. I was like, oh no, is this how he dies? No.
Not good. No.
No.
And so yeah, he's been drunk a lot, and then they're having to pick up like extra jobs to get more money and all this, and so they're kind of on a downward spiral, and they have like no food and all this, and then our Johnny, they always anyway, it just is, he's kind of getting like depressed and drunk, and then he comes home drunk one time, and Katie tells him that she's pregnant, and he is really losing it now, but then he stops drinking, but then he gets like massively depressed because he gets fired from his job because they're like, we can't have you anymore, you're always ruining everything. And so he's super upset about this, obviously, and very depressed, and he kind of just like wastes away, and he ends up like going, he's not even drunk anymore. But he kind of is like wandering around, and he dies on Christmas Day from pneumonia from being outside in the cold all night for no reason other than he's massively depressed.
And then also the doctors were like, also though, because his body was so messed up from all the alcohol that it just couldn't fight the pneumonia. It's very sad. And I was very sad.
But
Katie was also, she was immediately was like, what I was thinking, where it was like, oh my God, did he stop? Was having a third baby like what finally made him go like, oh my God, we can barely make it with 2 kids. I have to stop drinking. I have to get stuff together. And it seemed like that was what it was. But then he died. And it was so sad.
It was horrible because like, despite it all, I really liked him.
I know. And Katie loved him. Like she'd be really exasperated with him, and he definitely made life harder in some ways, but she loved him, and he loved her, and he loved the kids. Like he was a very loving husband and father. He
really was. He just had this horrible vice, and it did him in, and it was so sad because like, I just felt like there was so much more. Like, I know. He seemed so full of life.
He was so full of life. But it was also just, I don't know, it was different. Well, because first then life gets really, really bad right after he died, because she's like, I have to somehow keep working until I give birth. And now we're down. Cause I mean, she's kind of been supporting them entirely, but sometimes he would bring in a couple dollars a week, from like singing. And so that was helping. And so, but she's determined because of what her mom said to get her kids through at least elementary school. She wants them to go through high school and college too. And so she's like, how on earth are they going to be able to go back to school? Like when we can't survive unless they start working. And so it all kind of miraculously works out where they get some like after school work that they can do. But at first it's really hard after Johnny's gone. And then after that, it's almost kind of like, and now things are going smoother almost. because
Yeah.
there's not someone who keeps coming in and blowing things apart when they're, starting to pick up the pieces
I
again.
know, it's actually sad.
It's
But
really
then,
sad.
and then, yeah, because all this while the family who loved him so much are like mourning him also.
Yep.
Like, and it was so sad reading about like Francie's reaction, because she honestly, like, I think disassociated. Like, she was not thinking, like, whenever Katie told them, she didn't cry. She was like,
Yeah.
this isn't actually real. Like, this isn't what's happening. Like, she
Yeah.
couldn't like really fully accept it even when it was happening. And so,
Yeah.
and even like months after, she would kind of be like, oh right, Papa's dead. Like, she kept forgetting.
Yeah.
And it was so sad.
It's
One of
really
the parts
sad.
that killed me was whenever she was graduating and everyone was getting flowers, and she was like, okay, well, I'm not
Oh
gonna get
my
any flowers because nobody
God.
has flowers for me. And Johnny had oh no, I'm gonna cry. Johnny had sent her, or had like arranged for her to get flowers for graduation before he died. With he'd like gotten Sissy's help to do it, because he was like, just in case I forget, I want her to have flowers. And
Like, he wrote out the note to go
he
with
wrote
the
the note.
flowers.
Oh, that killed
It
me.
was so sweet. So she graduated and it's awesome. And Katie is like, heck yeah, my kids have, at least now they officially have more schooling than I have, but not enough schooling. But the thing is, now they can get jobs over the summer. But and it really helps a lot. Like, they basically like, she lies about her age.
Yeah, she does.
Francie
She's like
does.
14 and she says she's
16. Yeah, so she starts getting these jobs and she's making really good money.
Yeah.
But then because of that, she's like, oh no, what if mom won't let me go back to high school, because we really needed this money really badly. And if I go back to school, I can't keep this job. And so she decides that, and then she gets a raise. So she was making like $10 a week. And then she gets a raise for like $20 a week, which is awesome. And like, that's like more than they've ever brought in before.
Yeah,
so
that's like really good for them.
That's really good for them. Yeah. So, oh, it's so sad. And so then she goes, I'm just not going to tell my mom about it, because she won't let me go back to school if she knows there's that much at stake. And so she decides to just wait and see what her mom thinks needs to happen before she knows about the raise. And then, so they sit down to like dinner that night and they need to talk about school. And she's sitting there with Neely and her mom. And then Katie is like, okay, kids, do you guys want to go to high school? And Neely's like, no, I never want to go back to school. I just want to work. And Francie's like, oh my God, yes, I can't wait to go back to school. Yes. And then Katie's like, she pulls an Uno reverse on them.
She does.
She does. She's like, in that case, Neely, you have to go back to school. And Francie, you have to keep working. And Francie is like, this is so unfair. This is just because you favor Neely. And at first you're just like, Katie, what are you doing? And like, Neely storms off saying he's going to run away if she makes him go back to school. And then Katie explains to Francie, the reason I'm making him go back is because he won't go back. His education will stop here. He'll never go back on his own. So I can make him go now. You want to go, and you have it in you to find a way to get your education, which I do get. I mean, that does make sense.
I get it, but it's also like, dang, this is cold.
It is cold. It's cold. But this is the thing. She does not fumble. She is so practical. She's usually right in some way or other. I don't know about morally or emotionally, but practically, she's usually right.
And and so
and then Francie tells her about the raise, and Katie's like, oh, that's amazing. And then she's like, but see, I didn't even know that when I said that. So you know that it wasn't because of the money. So
and there was they had a little bit of a blow. They had a bit of a
fight.
But I guess things move on. That's kind of the thing. Like, there was like after that like a little bit of tension between them, but like they're also still a family and they love each other, so they work through it. But pretty crazy. And then also they have the new baby,
Annie Laurie.
Her name is Laurie. Annie Laurie. And
she's so cute.
She's very cute. She's like precious little baby. And I love, there's one conversation Neely and Francie have where I guess I shouldn't say. Also, there's this police officer who they've known for a long time, and like he was nice to Francie when she was younger and stuff. And you can kind of totally get the hint that he has a thing for Katie, and so
he's so simping for Katie, but his own wife is sick and dying, and he kind of only married his wife because the wife, like she was in a bad situation. Like I think she had gotten pregnant out of wedlock or something. And so not by him, by someone else.
Mhm.
And I guess to like save the family and the girl from disgrace, he agreed to marry her. And he's just such a stand-up guy.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Yeah.
And so of course, so then it's like 2.5 years after Johnny is dead and his wife has been dead for a year. And then he kind of is like, hey, so what do you think? Should we get together? And Katie's like, yeah.
Yeah, immediately.
He's cute too.
He just basically knocks on her door and he's like, so do you want to get married in the spring or something like that? And she's like, yes. And you're like, excellent.
And he's got money, like, and he was being really sweet and respectful too, because he was like, I want to put the kids through college, and I think we like, he's being super nice, and he's like, listen, I know I can never be your dad, you don't have to call me your papa and all that. And they're like, okay, well, we'll call you dad though. And but he's like, but I would really love it if I could like be the proper like stepfather to Lori. And they're like, yeah, of course. It's so sweet. And so basically then Francie and Neely kind of have this conversation, like everything's really looking up, and they're like, you know what, this is kind of awesome because Annie will never have to like struggle the way we did when we were younger and all this. And then they're like, yeah, but she also won't have as much fun. And they're like, it's so true, we had so much fun. And then they're like, oh, poor baby. And that part made me so emo. I was like, oh, sweet kids. They're like, yeah, we did have fun.
It's so sweet.
I know.
That is totally a scene that you would like.
It was precious.
It was precious.
I love it. They just sit around and talk about quote olden times, which is like, hey, remember last year when we did this?
Yeah, it's so cute. Francie had immediately basically figured out, her mom was totally right. Francie figured out a way to go to school. Like Katie had been like, okay, well she like figured out a way, like basically Francie lost that job because the paper or whatever she was working for shut down, but then she got a new job doing this like typography thing, but it was at night. So then Katie was like, that's great, you can go to school during the day. And then Francie was like, I'm not going to high school. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I'm not going to go back 4 or 5 years of high school for stuff I already know now because I've been living as like a 17-year-old.
Yeah, she's like, I read papers every single day, I know about everything now.
Yeah, exactly. And so she's like, I'm gonna figure this out. And Katie's like, they just have another fight. But then Francie does figure out that she can take summer courses for college, and she can't get credit for them, but she can take them. And so she does, and Katie's so excited. And then the next year she tries to enroll in like a real school, but a real college, but she can't unless she passes the entrance exams, and she fails them because she didn't go to high school. So she spends the next year like studying all of Neely's high school books so she can pass the next time. But it's great. She did. Katie was totally right about that, she'll find a way.
She will. She's scrappy, our Francie.
Yeah. And that's where she meets Ben.
Ben, yes, Ben is a sweetheart boy who is
he's so
older
ambitious.
than her, but yeah, he's very ambitious, and they like study together and stuff.
He's like, I'm gonna go to the law school, and then I'm gonna be the governor. And you're like, I'm making him sound obnoxious. He's not. He's very sweet and respectful.
He's a nice boy.
He's a nice boy. I was just like, you might be a little too politically ambitious. It's giving me red flags.
And Francie was like, okay. She was like, he's cute. I mean,
yeah, she's cute. So basically she's like, we'll see. Like, we'll see if anything happens. Yeah.
But then there's also this other boy. Yeah. So basically she gets set up on this double date, but then the other dates bail on her.
Yeah.
And so she just kind of goes on this date with this random boy. And he's about to, he's in the army. He's about to go off to World War I. And they like immediately hit it off, and they have like the best date ever, and they like have so much in common and all this. And at the beginning he was like, do you think we could just like pretend you're my best girl so that
he's like, I am engaged, but I haven't gotten to see her in a year, so could we just pretend? And she's like, I guess so. And I would have been like sure. No.
I know. And so, but then they like have so much in common, and they get along so well. Francie starts like falling for him, and then all this. And then basically he confesses he's in love with her, and she's like, I'm in love with you.
And he's like, will you wait for me?
Yeah. And she's like, yes. And so then he goes off to World War I, or he goes home first, and then he's going off to World War I, and he's supposed to write back to her. And instead of him writing back to her, his wife, whom he just married when he got home, writes back to her.
I thought it was his mom. Was it not? I thought it was his mom that wrote back. Maybe not. Maybe it was the wife. Either way, it doesn't change the content.
Well, anyway, he got married, and they were like, yeah, we thought it was mean of him to pretend that he loved you. Sorry about that. And that's it.
That's it. And her heart is broken. So that's sad.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, I hate this for me. It's so sad. And of course,
really sad.
Yeah.
Anyway. But then on her last day of her typography job, so basically now McShane is his name, right? The
Katie's new boyfriend. So when he comes over and he proposes and now they're engaged, it's basically right after that now, because he has all this money and he's going to put her through college. Now she doesn't have to try and like work full time and, you know, try and go to school full time. And so she's quit her job, and it's her last day at work, and she leaves work. And Ben is there. He like came to like see her on her last day of work because he knew that she'd be like emotional and stuff. And he gives her his class ring or something. And he says, I knew my mind from the second I met you, but I want you to know yours too. And so it's basically kind of like a promise ring, but he's like, just so you know, remember that to think about me, to figure out how you feel about me. Yeah. And in 5 years, I'll be ready to, his stupid plan. He's like, in 5 years, I'll be ready to get married. He's got it on like a timeline, probably in his pocketbook. He's like, here's my my plan for my life.
He does. And Francie is basically like, I don't love him yet, but I wonder if I will. She's still kind of hung up on Lee a little bit.
Which I was like, okay, why? Like, I don't know. I guess I never was like, oh, what a cool guy. But
I mean, I wasn't like a cool guy about Lee, but I was like, oh, they have a connection. That's sweet. And I really wanted that to like be like her romance. And then that letter. But the thing is, like, there's always that question of, well, what if it was like a conniving woman, like his mom or new wife who wrote that, or quote unquote, the girl he was engaged to who wrote that? Like, what if in my brain, I'm like, if it didn't come from the horse's mouth, are we 100% sure? Because he seemed fairly sincere, and he said to write. So why would he have her write to his house?
I don't know. That didn't even cross my mind. I was just like, stupid man, I hate you.
My first reaction was I bet it was a conniving woman in his life. And then I was like, well, no, probably he's an idiot. But then I was like, but what if? And so I just don't know. And so maybe that's why Francie can't let it go. I don't know.
This is twice now in the same episode displaying the thing where you're like, no, it's probably ending up fine. And I'm like, it's terrible. I hate it. Everybody's horrible. And I love that it's horrible.
I mean, I don't know. It could be horrible. We don't know. You do. And I just go, I don't know. I'm going to hope for the best. I don't think the source material really says for sure either way, but I don't know. So maybe that's why Francie is Francie's still a little hung up.
He could be dead. I'll never know. Basically.
She's like, who would write to tell me that he's dead? Like, would nobody. Would the mom tell me? Would the wife tell me? No. So.
I know. Yeah, that was kind of sad.
Yeah.
And
but other than that, her life is kind of great now.
Yeah, everything's coming up Francie, really.
Which is great because they have scrapped, and poor Katie has like scrapped her whole life. And and her one goal was, my kids have to get education. They have to. So they can have the opportunities I didn't. And she did the damn thing.
She did it.
She pissed off her kids a few times. She made some controversial decisions, but she did it.
Yeah. And they all turned out. I was like, good for you guys.
Yeah.
And then I love the very last scene is Francie's like getting ready for a date with Ben, and she's remembering that when she was younger, which this is at the very beginning of the story, they talk about this, she used to like look in the windows and see like girls who are older getting ready for dates and stuff, and think about them and like kind of be like, and she's like a scrappy little girl on the street. And so she's like, oh, I wonder if there's any girls doing that right now. She looks out and sees this little girl who's watching her from her balcony, and she's like, she kind of calls her Francie and stuff because it's like a cyclical thing.
And the little girl's like, that's not my name. And she's like, goodbye, Francie.
Yes. It's so sweet. Oh, I loved it. And I cried. I cried like 5 times reading this book.
Believe that. It's a very emotional book.
It was.
I kept thinking, this book is so long, I'm just going to skim it. But then I'd be like, I can't skim it. I'm too caught up in it. I can't just skim it.
Completely invested the whole time.
I was too, even though I like wanted not to be so I could finish it faster. But I was like, no, I have to give this the time it needs. It was really good. Yeah.
We left out some parts. Oh my God, we left out the part where Katie shot a man
Oh,
the town pervert.
easily my favorite part.
That was so crazy. There was
I'm
this,
so impressed
basically there was
with her.
this sicko roaming the streets, and he had killed a little girl, and so everyone's
Mhm.
freaking out.
Mhm.
And he came and was attacking Francie,
Mhm.
and Katie went upstairs, got this gun that Johnny had bought to like, or not bought, but
He borrowed.
yeah,
Yeah,
he bought it
specifically because he wanted to protect
to
his daughter in
protect
case of
Francie.
the pervert. Yeah.
Right. And so Katie went up, got the gun, shot the dude,
Mhm.
and rescued Francie.
That was
And
that. And
they were
this was
like,
kind of like her first like big interaction with McShane, because McShane was like, nice work, basically.
yeah. Like, he's like, oh my God, she's such a badass.
I know. He's like, oh my God, I think I'm in love. And like all the people in the neighborhood was like, yeah, you don't cross Katie Nolan.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, that was scary. The door just opened behind me.
It was so good. I loved that scene. I mean, it was terrible that there was a perv attacking Katie, but I mean,
it was
Francie,
great that he died.
I love, well, yeah, but he didn't kill him though. I was so disappointed. Yeah. I was like, oh, kill him. But it was cool that she shot him.
It was
so
awesome.
Cool.
She like shot him like through her apron. So there was like a hole in her apron. It was cool.
It was so awesome.
Yeah.
There were lots of cute scenes. And then there's a part where like they get a Christmas tree and all this.
Oh anyway. Yeah. There's so many good like little vignettes. This would make like a good like Little Women style movie, where because it happens over such a big span of time. But if you do like all the like the vignettes that mean so much, then God, this would be such I wonder if it has been turned into a movie.
It has. I read there was a like afterword in my version about and this lady was talking about how much the book means to her and stuff, and how she only has sons, but she made them read like this book and Little Women and stuff. And so, and her son said something about like, Mom, I bet you wish you were Joe March when you were younger. And she's like, I did wish I was Joe March, but in actuality, I was really more of a Francie Nolan.
It was probably so true of many of us.
And yeah, so I was like, oh, I want to see the movie. Oh my God, 1945 film.
What? No, I want to no offense, but I want like a modern remake.
Yeah, me too.
I really want a modern remake.
I will watch this though, but yeah, I want like a new one. That's awesome.
I agree.
See, I bet so much that I bet they leave so much out.
I'm sure. I'm sure 100%.
Anyway.
Anyways, what was your favorite, least favorite part?
I wrote under fave part when Francie got the flowers from Johnny after he died. Because it was very emotional.
That was sweet. So sweet.
And then I also laughed really hard at how terrible the fishing trip was. But there were so many parts that I loved. But I guess those were what I wrote.
I think my favorite part was when Katie got her first well-paying job, like when she got the raise. I just something about that moment, I felt like, oh my God, life's going to be okay. Like if she did this once, she can do it again. Like even if something goes bad, like she can do it again, and their lives can never go that far back downhill, like realistically, hopefully. And so I just felt like so hopeful from then on, even when bad things kept happening. I was like, yeah, but she did it once, so she can do it again.
Yeah. I know. I get so excited every time like things started working out. I was like, yes, thank you.
Exactly. I think my least favorite part was when Johnny died right after he had given up alcohol. You were like, dude, this is heartbreaking.
It was so tragic. And I was like waiting for it, but I didn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible.
I kept reminding myself he's gonna die soon, you know, and then I'd forget. And so then when he did finally die, I was like, oh my God, this just hit me out of the blue. I wish someone had warned me.
Like, don't get it. Yeah, how could you do this without telling
me? Exactly.
Betty's like, oh my God, I literally told you.
She's like, I literally told you like 3 or 4 times before now. That was just really sad. But he was such a good character, and he continued to impact her. Oh my God. Maybe like one of my favorite moments in the whole book is when at the very end, so Francie had been told by her grandmother from the Romilly side, so Katie's side of the family, that the Romilly women can see ghosts. And then at the very end, because Neely, who looks and acts just like his father in some ways, he's like getting ready for, I don't know, his graduation or something or other. He's getting dressed, and he's like, you know, he's getting dressed exactly the way Johnny used to, like very like careful about his clothes and shining his shoes, and he's got the same blonde hair. And as she's watching him get ready, he starts singing, and she goes, I didn't realize until then that my grandmother Mary or whatever had been right about the Romilly women. We can see ghosts because he looks just like her dad.
I've been listening to Molly Malone all week because I've been thinking about this.
I believe you.
Yeah, that part was so sweet. Yeah, I cried at that too.
It was so sweet. Yeah, that was probably like my favorite moment. I mean, there were so many good moments. That was definitely like top 3 favorite moments though. What about favorite characters?
Wait, I didn't say Miley's favorite part.
Oh, sorry.
Miley's favorite part was when the teacher told Francie that her stories were bad.
Oh, that was so sad.
I was pissed off because Francie had been, she was like always hailed as like, oh, she's such a good writer and all this. And she was, but then when she started, after her father died, when she started writing stories that were like reflective of her own experiences in her own life, her teacher was like, this is rubbish. You do not want to be writing this because this is disgusting to write about people who are drunk and poor and all this. And I was pissed. And so then Francie was like, okay. And she burned up like not those, but like all her other stories.
Other stuff, yeah. She's like, basically, I give up on writing, and that's that.
I was so mad. She was like, the stupid teacher was like, writing is supposed to reflect what's beautiful in the world. This is not beautiful. And I was like, do you literally have your ass, like, is it all the way over your head? Like, is that what's happening? I was so mad.
I was upset too. And Francie like never forgave the teacher, but she did eventually kind of return to her love for writing. So that I was proud of her for that. But it was awful for like years. She was like, well, I've given up on writing. I'm not going to be a writer anymore because of what that teacher said. She was horrible.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, did you say favorite character?
Yeah, favorite characters.
Probably Francie. I love her.
Yeah.
But I think Johnny's a very interesting character, and I really enjoyed like reading about him.
I think Katie is my favorite character.
Yeah.
I think honorable mention for Sissy because I love
Sissy.
She's crazy.
She really is fun.
She's so fun and crazy. I mean, I love all of them, but if I have to pick a favorite, I think Katie. I think I related to her the most, even more so than Francie, because frankly, Francie is nicer than Katie is. I think Katie, I think she comes across really harsh sometimes because she's just trying to make the right decision for everybody, and she feels a lot of responsibility. And she's so painfully practical that sometimes nothing she does makes sense because she's trying so hard to hold everything together. And I don't know. I don't think that she was like, I think she probably didn't have many friends. I mean, we know she didn't have many friends. She probably is not the easiest person to get along with, but I really liked her.
I loved her. And I think that, like she was practical, but she, like we said, she could have fun, and she was like really cool and like sweet to her kids. And
exactly. And then Sissy was the antithesis of Katie. She was just crazy.
She was like, woo, we're partying.
Yeah, and a little bit of practicality, but mostly we're partying. She was Sissy was like weirdly smart. Like she would make a great criminal, and actually did technically commit crime multiple times.
That was smart. So funny when Steve was like, I just didn't think we were living in adultery. And she's like, we're not living in adultery, Steve. We're living in bigamy. He was like, I gotta go.
I love Sissy so much. God, she's fantastic. Oh man, if you mix together Katie and Sissy, that's probably I'm probably somewhere in that spectrum. Oh, that's funny. Anyways, Lee's favorite character?
I don't know.
That teacher.
Lee. Because I'm so mad. Yeah, oh, probably that teacher. Yeah. I hated her. I hated her guts.
Yeah. I probably think so too. Probably the teacher. I don't know. There's like a lot of unsavory people in here. Yeah, but like all those people so who were mean to that
poor girl.
Yes. Ooh. I mean, obviously, like the pervert wins because he killed a little girl.
Oh, the pervert.
So he definitely wins, but he's barely in it. He's not really like.
He's not even a character.
He's not really a character. He's just a plot device at one point. So I mean, he would win if he were like really a character in the story, but he's not. So,
but those women who are mean to that girl.
I think the women win. I hate them the most.
I hated them.
Yeah, I hate women.
Okay, Katie. Okay, favorite quote?
Ooh, okay. I bookmarked it, I think. Oh no, I didn't. I removed my bookmark, but I took a picture of it. There was a couple times that I was like, this is going to be my favorite quote, but then I only saved one of them. So that means that that's my favorite quote. Where did it go?
I hope we didn't pick the same one.
I took a picture of my very sunburned boobs.
You have to send that to me.
I
Send boob
will.
pics.
I will, to you and only you. Sorry, listeners.
Dang
it, I can't find it, but I think I remember the page it was on.
In Dublin's fair city, where the girls
are so pretty,
I first laid my eyes on sweet Molly Malone.
That's a good one. All right, where did it go? Hang on, sorry. Okay, this was so from her grandma Mary, Katie's mom. This is a quote that she had said, and this is something that Katie reflected back on later. And I just think it's something I forget to do, but I really feel like it's the way that you should live life. So it goes to look at everything always as though you were seeing it either for the first or last time. Thus is your time on earth filled with glory.
Oh,
I feel like that's really true. Yeah,
that's sweet.
Forgot to underline it. There's also, mine has a bunch of notes in it from the last person who owned the book. One of them, I forget, somewhere in there's some character who does something horrible, and this person goes, oh, what a bitch. It was her annotation. I thought that was funny.
That's amazing.
That was good. I love whenever I like buy a used book and it has like notes in it. I'm like, yes. Oh my God, yes, please.
I love that too. Or like really favorite? Fun inscriptions.
Oh yeah.
Okay, mine is right after Kate, or I keep saying Kate, right after Francie finds out that the US has entered World War I.
Yeah.
Dear God, she prayed, let me be something every minute of every hour of my life. Let me be gay. Let me be sad. Let me be cold. Let me be warm. Let me be hungry, have too much to eat. Let me be ragged or well-dressed. Let me be sincere, be deceitful. Let me be truthful. Let me be a liar. Let me be honorable and let me sin. Only let me be something every blessed minute. And when I sleep, let me dream all the time so that not one little piece of living is ever lost. What was that?
Jennifer, good God, she just jumped on my freaking computer from all the way up on top of the.
Oh my!
She was all the way up there, and she just dropped her freaking body directly on the.
That was crazy.
I'm so glad it didn't shut everything off because she landed on my keyboard. I've stopped keeping my computer here because she's so heavy and she lands right here every time, but she's never done it while I'm using my computer.
Oh man.
You couldn't have waited 5 minutes? Good God. 121. I'm writing cat in all capitals.
Cat.
I'm so sorry. I have no idea what we were saying.
I just finished my quote. Oh, she did it like right as I finished reading my quote.
She's like, oh, she's done now.
I know. Geez.
I don't even remember the quote, but I'm sure it was excellent.
It was very good. When you listen back, you'll be like, oh, good quote.
Yeah, exactly. I'll treat myself to listening back to it.
That was very startling.
Yes, it was. She doesn't do it gracefully either. She just goes with gravity. She's not. Anyways, so I guess, what's our pinkies up for this book?
5.
Is that like 3 in a row? That's been 5? Yes. Oh my God.
We're really on a roll.
We are
I was literally in chapter 2 of this book and I was like, it's going to be 5.
I knew when you said, I just started reading this and I already love the style. I was like, it's going to be a 5 on pure writing style. And then I opened it and I was like, oh yeah, it's going to be a 5 on pure. But then I read the whole book and it was a 5 on like everything. So,
oh yeah,
it's amazing. Everybody, if you want to read a classic, it's a good classic. It is long, but like I said, like I kept trying to like skim it like I would other classics, but it's so interesting. Like you really can't because you just want to like read it.
It's not stuffy. It feels pretty modern. I mean, it's about the 1900s, but it was only written in the 40s, I guess. So.
Yeah. So the writing style feels fairly modern. You don't have to be like, what does this mean? Why are there so many flowery sentences? It's not at all like that. It's very palatable, very comprehensive. definitely like it. Hooray for five pinkies up. What are we reading next week?
We are reading I just had it because I wrote about it already. One sec. The Woman in the Window.
Oh yeah, we're reading The Woman in the Window next week. Who's the author of that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to load and I can't load it. Dang it.
AJ Finn.
AJ Finn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next week we'll be reading Woman in the Window by AJ Finn, and it's going to be a great time. I'm excited. It's another one of those that it's a contemporary, but it looks like it's like a murder mystery thriller type. I think it's a thriller.
Yes, I have seen the movie.
I have not.
I think, if I've seen the right movie.
If it's not a movie, it sounds like something that would have been a movie.
Yep, I watched the movie.
Yep.
It was a Netflix movie, so I know what happens. It's pretty crazy.
Oh, well, I don't know what happens. This is one of those times. Cool. You can compare the movie. That'll be perfect.
I will, yeah.
Right up your alley.
Sounds
perfect. Good. So that'll be next week. Thank you guys for showing up as always. If you want to follow us during the week, I think I forgot to say the last couple times, but you can follow us on social media. We are on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We are That Pretentious Book Club. You can go check out our website, StorySirenStudio.com. You can check out some merch there, some other fun information about the pod. If you want to join our Patreon and support the pod and also get some cool like bonus episodes and videos and merch and stuff like that, you can do that by going to Story Siren Studio on Patreon. So go check it out. Go follow us. We post on Instagram multiple times a week. We post on TikTok sometimes. If there's something that you want to see from us on social media or Patreon, or something that you want to hear us talk about on the pod, you can reach out. You can instant message us. Is that what they say? Or is it direct message now? What do the kids say? You can DM us.
So I guess direct.
It took me a very long time to figure out what DM meant. Like it's an embarrassingly amount of time. Like I am actually an idiot.
You're like, DM.
DM. I also like, recently learned what
Dungeon Master.
Dungeon Master. I honestly think that I did think that because I only knew it from Dungeon Master. And then WHIP is work in progress. So from writers, if you go listen to the Scripturian Society, that's our sister podcast. It's all about writing. The last episode is about the importance of resting your whip, but Carissa had to explain to me what whip meant. And I was like, yes, it's very basic phrase.
I do have that.
Anyways, if you guys want to explain to me some other acronym that I'm misunderstanding, you're welcome to do that by DMing us, or you can email us at contact@StorySirenStudio.com. We will read it. We will reply. We love that you guys have thoughts and opinions and things to say. And don't forget to tell all your friends that they can skip the nonsense if they want to.
Yes.
That's what the notes are for. I think that's it all. Yeah. All right. Well,
okay.
Until next week, everybody, keep your teacups full.
Your pinkies high.
And your book club.
Pretentious. Goodbye.
Bye.